Today's show is being sponsored by the Spring Forward Writers Retreat. If you're someone who's been sitting on your book for weeks, months, years now, especially if you're a Gen X woman, you've been through some major experiences, you have a story, you have something to say and to share with the world, but you've been sitting on it, or you've been a bit confused as to where to start. 2025 is your year to shine and get it done and get that story out there. The Spring Forward Writers Retreat will be a 3-day retreat in beautiful sunny Orlando, Florida, where we're coming together for the sole purpose of writing the book. We're coming together to help you get what's in your head onto the page so you can come in an aspiring author and leave as an author. Your manuscript will be completed by the end of that weekend. And not only that, but you'll also have the next steps that you'll need to be published and to properly market your book. So you're coming in with your ideas, maybe a partial draft, maybe you started on your book already. But by the end of the weekend, you'll have a completed manuscript and the next steps that you'll need to take to be successful with your book, with your story. You'll have help and guidance not only from myself, but also from other successfully published authors who've experienced the process and can guide you to completion. If this sounds really good to you, if you're interested, go to www.springforwardretreat.com for more information.
Once you go through these, tough situations, it just builds this confidence in you that's like, oh, confidence. I was here. It just builds it in you, showing yourself that you can overcome these situations that aren't ideal.
That's what it was.
But there's always, there might be problems, but there's always solutions to your problems.
Good evening. Happy Wednesday, my winners and goal-getters. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas to you. This particular episode is a gift of storytelling for you on this special day. I'm presenting an interview with a friend of mine named James Monahan. Shout out to him. You'll hear all about his story in this episode. The beauty of why this episode is dropping today is that his audiobook will be dropping soon for his book, Farang in the Land of Smiles. So shout out to James Monahan. Check out this interview and be blessed. As promised, we have James Monahan, aka Commish. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us, man.
No, absolutely. Thank you for taking the time for bringing me on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, for those watching, James is genuine, man. As you see him, that's what you get. This is someone who is a real one. So James, yeah, sure. So let's get into your book, which is called Farang in the Land of Smiles. And, let our audience know where that term comes from and your journey, the story that you tell in that book. Kind of talk about that.
Yes, my book, Farang in the Land of Smiles.
Yes.
Right here. Yeah. So that is about my journeys through Thailand and the lessons that I learned, the experiences that I've had out there. So it consists of 3 different trips. First time I was there was 2014. Then we did it again in 2016 and 2018. And each time was so different because it was different groups of people that I went with, and just, oh man, the experiences and what I was able to learn about myself and people was just priceless.
Awesome. And I mean, talk about the nuanced differences between those trips, because even if you had gone with the same group of people, those are different time frames too. So different things were happening in the world at each time. So you can just briefly touch on each of those experiences.
Cool. Yeah. So the first time, one of the experiences that stands out the most that I remember was, so when I was there, the government was going through a whole situation where it was it was election time over there. So you have these 2 different parties. So it was when you would go down to the main areas, it was recommended that you didn't wear the red or yellow, because they were the 2 colors of the political parties. So you have rallies down there, protesters and all this stuff. And it was just it was wild to see, how that went about in a different country. And just the one thing though, that made me fall in love with that country was it's probably the first week I was out there. We went to this place to eat, and I don't really care for the food. It was like fishball soup. They call it konon jim out there, and it tasted like what the air smelled like to me. So it was not the most flavorful thing. I mean, it was flavorful, but not good flavors to me. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
like literally stayed in my mouth for 3 days, couldn't get it out, brush teeth, whole nine. But
Oh.
yeah, it was crazy. Like never experienced anything like that in my life. Thailand food definitely has levels to it. But the cool thing was about 3 days later, went back to that same spot and my friends got something to eat there, but I sat across the street to eat something completely different. And when I was there the first time, I had left a notebook. Didn't even have anything in it. But the guy who was working there recognized me across the street and came across and brought me
Wow.
my notebook. You know what I mean? So
Wow.
like in America, somebody would have tossed that out without even thinking about it, especially not even have anything written in it. But
Yeah.
this
Or
was
they
like
would have just
this
kept
dude.
it.
Exactly. Something like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But this dude literally recognized me and walked across the street and gave it to me and was just like, and I just thought that was a beautiful thing, you know? So that was some things about that first trip. And the two, like flying back home by myself for the first time, like navigating through different countries, and it's 17-hour flight is the second one. So that was, something you know, that once you do it, it's like, oh man, I feel like I can do anything now. You know what I mean? Getting through that experience. And then the second time was super cool because we all, it was, I went out there with two of my really good friends, and my one friend was already out there with his daughter because it was summertime this time. And we got to stay at a friend's house. And like this
Hmm.
house it was gorgeous. And like the bottom was like a shop setup, but it had all kinds of Asian decor and statues and things like that, and had like different levels to it. So like the one level there was a studio in there,
Nice.
so it was a great hub to be for everybody to be there all together. And it was just, man, such a cool experience, like just for everybody involved, because got to see for the first time too ever at this one park. It's escaping me now the names of them, but like there's these super big lizards out there. They almost
Whoa.
look like, yeah, like they're huge though. A
Are they
Monahan lizard,
Komodo?
huh?
Komodo?
Which, yeah, so like
Komodo
not a
dragon?
Komodo, something like that. You know what I mean? It's in that world, but it's like, dude, I'd never seen anything like it. And they're just like climbing up on the trees and like in the water.
Mm.
And it's just like people are like, oh, stay away from. But I was like, no, I'm getting as close as I can to see this thing up, and because still got that adventurous side in me. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
that was just something cool, because it's like you just getting to experience stuff in different countries that you don't get to see here in America. It like opens your eyes and just changes your perspective,
Yeah.
on stuff. And then the third time was 2018. We were out there, and this time it was a lot of work too going out there,
Okay.
but it was cool because you're every day is different. Some days you're at video shoots, some days you're at like live events that they're hosting and putting on. But it was really special this time because my boy, he was getting married, and I got
Mm.
invited to the wedding. So that was
Mm-hmm.
a super cool experience. That was down in so it's like Hall Hin, which is about, it's like this beautiful island set up about 3.5 hours out of the city of Bangkok. And
Wow.
man, yeah, there. And then it's like some of the places are like super like rural getting there. So I just remember we were driving, literally it seemed like you're in the middle of the jungle, like super narrow roadways, but then all of a sudden there'd be like a schoolhouse in the middle of nowhere, and then these like the bulls or yaks, the ones with the horns, they'd be like
Yeah.
out there walking around. But it's like you look around and it's like you don't even know where these people are getting their running water from, but it's still like they have schoolhouses and houses out there. And it's just, you keep driving down that same road though, and a few minutes later, it's like it just opens up to this beautiful beach, like resort type of place, and it was just one of the coolest experiences I've ever like had in my life. And it's all, detailed in the book, but it was so
Hmm.
cool because like a group of friends, like literally there to, celebrate my friend getting married. And it was just a beautiful ceremony. And then afterwards, they're all artists and musicians and stuff. So then it's like they put on like a live concert type of deal, and everybody's getting on the mic and doing
Nice.
their thing and partying and doing that. But it's just so I'm so glad that I had the experience, like I said, because it's priceless. But the reason that the book is called Farang, because every time I'm out there, I would just hear like Farang, oh you Farang, Farang. So Farang means it's basically what I am. It's like a white, like it's a slang term for white Caucasian, like a foreigner in a sense. But
Hmm.
it was me out there, and it was I thought it was perfect title for the book. And then In the Land of Smiles, because that's what they call Thailand, and it definitely is the land of smiles out there, no doubt. It's just like the cost of living too is so cheap, and the
Hmm.
food and everything. Like you get a plate of chicken and rice on the street for $1.50,
Wow.
compared to America, like because the baht is so. Because I'm pretty sure now it's like when I was there, it was about 33 baht equals $1. So
Okay.
that's like 40 baht, 50 baht. You're getting food on the street, and it's like so.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing to be a part of, and I'm so glad I was able to.
So, what are some lessons from the book that you feel that you want readers to
Mm.
come away with? Like, give us about three or five of them. I don't know how many there are. I haven't read the book yet, but just kind
Well,
of, yeah.
where I say honestly, one of the biggest ones, and it's just like one of the biggest things I've been on in life
Hmm.
is so much about experience.
True. Very much.
Because if we can expose ourselves to different cultures and just, the more variety of exposure we have, it, in a sense, it doesn't like trump going to school and things like that, but it just like, it is a different experience because it's like you're getting the real life experience. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Compared to being in, you know, a more, structured setup and whatnot. So that was one of the biggest lessons. Like life is experience.
Hmm.
Um, let's see. Another thing too is you know doing stuff when you're scared or unsure, just it builds so much confidence in you, seeing that you were able to do it. Like I remember the one
Oh,
time was the
that's
second
good.
time. Yeah, like the second time we were out there.
Hmm.
So was in a situation where a friend of mine had like somehow got, I don't know if he knocked himself out, like fell because he was or whatnot, or got hit by somebody, but
Oh,
literally walking in the bathroom and like he's just there's all these security guards around and he's just laying flat down in like a little puddle of his own blood. And
whoa.
it's like my other friend was like so drunk and wasted, like I'm having to be like take care of these two people, right? Get back to a hotel where we're staying at, and then my phone breaks. My
Oh
phone
no.
cracks in my pocket. So it's like now I have like no communication kind of thing, and I have to find my way to get to my other friend's apartment where he's staying at,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
then get there, get a taxi, do all this stuff. And then I made it all happen, but then I'm in the taxi on the way back to where we're going, and the dude drives right past the hotel
Oh no.
where I was staying. But it was like I knew because of the landmarks. So it's like that's
Hmm.
another thing too. Like always be like aware of your surroundings. Wherever you're at, especially in a foreign country, like because the language barrier is always going to be there. And two, like,
Yes.
in a sense, people like cab drivers like that, they're may try to take advantage of someone that,
Yes.
has not been there so it's like if you know your surroundings, that's one thing that's always yeah, keep your surroundings and your landmarks like prevalent, always know where you're at because yeah, that definitely can save your life, no doubt about it. So
That part.
yeah, those are yeah, for real. And another thing too is just really be authentically who you are. because no matter where you are, like that is going to resonate with the people, because I am just me how I am through and through. And I learned that at a young age, in a sense, from what I went through. It didn't matter what I did, what I dressed, it didn't matter. I would get picked on for whatever, even if I tried to adapt to the cool kids or whatever. But it was like, no, I'm just going to be me and you're going to accept me for that or not. And that I think is a huge reason why I am where I am now, because it's just like I've always authentically just been myself, and it even resonates, you know, 23 hours on a plane in other countries. It's, I'm able to
Yeah,
have an impact there too, so yeah, I would say
that's
those
good.
three are, three big takeaways for sure.
Well, you gave a bonus one, you gave a fourth one, but let's recap
Okay,
those.
we're
So one, yeah,
yes.
one was, life is comprised of your experiences.
Yep.
Like make sure to savor those experiences and draw as many lessons from those experiences as possible. Remind me what the second one was. I know the third and the fourth. The third was know your landmarks, and then the fourth one was be authentically yourself. But remind us of what that second
Oh
one
yeah.
was.
Well, the second one in a sense is like, the the landmarks and stuff too, but once you go through these tough situations, like it just builds this confidence in you that's like, oh, I was here.
Confidence,
It just
confidence.
builds it in you, showing yourself that you can overcome these situations that aren't
That's what it
ideal,
was.
but there's always, there might be problems, but there's always solutions to your problems.
Yes, that's really good. That's really good. Don't miss that one. Like he said it kind of fast, and I kind of missed it that first time, but I'm glad you repeated it. Yeah, you're you're more capable than you give yourself credit for. So like allow yourself to,
Absolutely.
yeah, to have that confidence that you will find the solution, and in some cases you are the solution. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Oh yeah.
having that confidence is really important. Thank you for sharing that. So, Farang in the Land of Smiles is the name of the book, so make sure you get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and James, I wanted to also get into your backstory because we heard a
Mhm.
little bit of it in there. You're someone who's in the music world. So tell us
Mhm.
your backstory. Talk about the music and how you first decided to write the book. Like what inspired you to write it. Kind of talk about those things.
Yeah, nah, absolutely. So, you know, music and words have just been something that's always been special to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's always like music was something from a young age that was always there for me. I could always go to the music when I was feeling any kind of way. And, you can get all kinds of emotions from it, whether you want to be happy, sad, contemplative, whatever the case may
True.
be. And then that led me, you know, to writing when I was young. So
Mm,
started with short stories when I was, you know, 10, 11,
love
9
it.
years old. And then,
Love it.
that transitioned into poems, I
Mm-hmm.
was doing, and then that transitioned more into to lyrics and songs. And then I was,
Ah.
writing because for a while I wanted to be the one on stage doing it. I wanted to be the singer or the rapper, whatever the case may be. I could do a little bit of both. Like singing, I know I definitely need some vocal lessons on, but you know, writing and rhyming, that came a little bit easier for me,
Mm-hmm.
So I was into that heavy in my teens and early 20s, but
Mm-hmm.
then I got into a wasn't didn't start off toxic, but it ended toxic into a relationship where the woman that I was with, she was not very supportive of the music that I was doing and writing. So me myself, I fell off of doing that. But
Okay.
during that same time, I met my friend Corpus in 2011, who's the one, that's how I
Mm-hmm.
got out to Thailand in the first place. And he was heavy
Ah.
in the music space. So I was able to still have that outlet a little bit, but not be as, hyper focused on it. And still kind of be able to live vicariously through that a little. But
Mm-hmm.
then that experience led me to doing more of the editorial type stuff. So then I started doing,
Nice.
yeah. So that was cool because that led me to in 2014, I started doing like show recaps in New York because
Okay.
I had moved
Okay.
up to Jersey City because 2013 had a house fire, and then I had to move up to Jersey City with my friend, and that was just a life changing experience because it, connected me with people that I'm still connected with today, but it also, gave me a new outlet in a sense for the writing because now, like I said, it transitioned more to editorial stuff, and I was doing show recaps, I was doing album reviews, which was
Hmm.
awesome because then I could just, sit in my headphones and listen to music and and pick it apart in a sense in a good way, or some stuff I, didn't like everything I heard, but I would give it my honest opinion about it. But I love doing that. And then that led to interviewing people. So then I started interviewing artists. And then from there, that led to an internship with Funkmaster Flex on Hot 97.
Nice.
Yeah. And that was cool. It was, there, that's true, man. That was a lot too, because I was working and then writing articles, like me to put up at least 5 a day. And that was from like all kinds of different world, whether it was like news articles, music articles, but you learn your copyright, how to say as much as you can in 300 words or less type
Correct.
deals, so that was huge. And then that led
Know about
to
that.
an internship with the Source, which was just an incredible experience because just, being so in love with the culture and the music, and now get into work for one of the meccas in that space, like
Top.
the Source magazine, was just amazing.
Big.
And one of the articles I wrote for that was actually a seed I planted in 2016, and it's still in the process of getting watered right now. They're working on a documentary about this whole jacket and Raekwon and Lynx Beach and this whole thing, because the article I wrote helped catapult this jacket company, this clothing company.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
because yeah, and it was just from words that I wrote about it, like, and it being in the Source, just it garnered all this attention, and now it's something that hopefully within the next year or so that will be something that will come to fruition. But it's wild, that you can do something. Was that it was 2016? So now we're talking 8 years ago that could
Mm.
still come back now. You know what I mean? Um, so editorial stuff, Source 2016, and then that really led to, you know, in a sense, the first time going, or the second time going out to Thailand. And while I'm out there, it's like I'm documenting the whole experience and whatnot. But it wasn't
Hmm.
till I was out there the third time where I was like, all right, well, maybe I could really put all this into a book and tell people
Mm.
about it and what this experience is like, because you know it's not gonna say it's rare, but it was a unique experience for sure. Like, not everybody got to experience Thailand the way I was able to, having friends out there that are actually in the whole music space and whatnot. And like, I think it's a story that still needs to be like fully told, but I'm glad I was able to at least bring it a little bit to the foresight, just being able to like bridge the gap from Thailand into America, and just letting people know that, you know, if you have like a goal and desires and a passion and something like with the music stuff, and if you get with like-minded people and can build a community out there, like, anything is possible, because like they were able to create something out there that in America, it's just, you could do it, but it just seems like it's a little bit more difficult to be able to get into that space out here,
Mm.
and it's just, and their music they put out there is good music, and it's like stuff that the world needs to hear. And I'm glad I was able to at least do them a little bit of justice in the book, like explaining about that and telling their story a little. So that's yeah, that was the inspiration behind the book, being able to tell a part of this bigger story.
Awesome. And I would love to kind of walk our folks through that process too, because
Mm,
some of our viewers may actually be in the process of that. That might be their luxury item and they might be procrastinating on it. So talk
mm,
about what your process was to get the book done. Did you record? I mean, obviously you're a writer, so did you choose to
Yeah.
type? Like, what was your process of getting it from the idea in your head to print?
Yeah. So I, it was, so it, I, in 2021, I found
Hmm.
myself, I enrolled into Breed University. The
That's
pro,
Eric
the,
Thomas, y'all.
yep, Eric Thomas started that. So I found myself in there and then getting exposed to accountability and quarterly goals and I will statements. So it was like, it was all
Mm.
new to me, but like I saw all these people around me doing all this stuff. And it's like, all right, well, I can do this too. Like at first, I went in there, I was like, I wanted to rebrand my social media. So I did that and started telling the story of Thailand through pictures on my Instagram.
Ah,
And then that started
yes.
sparking the idea of, all right, well, maybe I do it like this. Now I can really tell a book. So then it's probably about a year into there, I became a lead on there. And then one of my goals became to write this book. So that process was literally for, was it, I think it was quarter 3. So it was like my
Hmm.
quarter 3 goal is to write my book, and today I will write 750 words by 7 p.m. So it was me and Microsoft Word just sitting here and typing out the words. And it didn't come easy at
Hmm.
first, because I mean, writing a book it can be a daunting task, when
Can
you
be.
first embark on it. But once you get into it and you get into the flow, it's like, all right, these 750 words, it's coming easier than I thought it would, and the more
Yep.
you write, it just builds almost like, obviously the consistency, but then the words start flowing easier once you spend the time with it every day and you're sitting there doing it. So yeah, that was the process, for months straight, was just telling
Hmm.
myself, all right, I'm gonna sit down and write these 750 words by 7 p.m. and we got it done, and it happened. And now I have the physical copy I can hold in my hand and share it to the world. So it's just
Amen.
like, but it's like, man, it's so empowering when
Hmm.
you can do that for yourself and you see, like, you know you can work through it. And then, after you write it, comes the editing process and the formatting process and all that. But it's like, I was lucky to, be in a community of people that had done it before, so I was able to go to
Mm.
them, and in a sense, really, you know one of my coaches always says it, you consolidate decades into days. So it's
That.
like, so you're able to go to people that have already done before. You don't have to figure everything out, and it just helps consolidate that time so much. And, I was able to do that. So the formatting went a little quicker. And then the book cover, that was, pretty smooth for the most part. And then you get it, set up through with the Amazon KDP and
Yep.
Author Central. But it's like, it's step by step. And like being, a grounds crew, that personality like I am, it's like, if you give me steps to follow, I'm pretty good at executing on them. Might not be the best at coming up with those steps on my own and figuring it out, but if you give me a way to get there, we gonna get there. So that was super helpful, to be able to have a system there for me. It's like, all right, now this is the next step you got to take, and then we do this and do this, and then it's all right, and we did it, and we got it done, and you can
Awesome.
too.
Yes.
If I can do it,
Yes.
shoot, if I can do it, anybody seriously can do it. Like,
Yeah. Awesome. And thank you for sharing that process. I wanted our folks to hear that because it is doable. Writing a book
oh
isn't
yeah,
it doesn't have to take as long as you think. Um
exactly. And it doesn't cost as much as you think either. Cause like that's one thing that can hold
exactly.
us back. Like we can make up in our minds like, oh, it's gonna be such a long process, it's gonna cost so much. It's like, what's the point? But it's like you don't know until you do it. And once you do it and you find out that it's super reasonable and it's super achievable, it's like, oh yeah, we can do this.
Absolutely. So there are a couple of gems, y'all. I'm going to recap them because I don't want you to miss them. So, one, community. That was the first thing. He said he had joined Breed University, which That's Dr. Eric Thomas's previous community before he established the UOU Mastermind. Um, but community, just getting into a group of like-minded people that are doing what you want to do. And then two, setting deadlines or goals for yourself. He said 750 words per day by 7 p.m. A certain
Mhm.
number of words per day at a certain time. Like, this is what it is. This is my assignment. I got to do it. And since he was in the community, number three, accountability. So, community,
Yep.
deadline, accountability. He had to report to folks. Like, they were going to ask him, like, okay, where are you with this? Like, how far have you
Mhm.
gotten with it? Do you need help? You know what I mean? And that's
Yep.
the thing about being in a community. You find out, oh, hey, like you need an editor, like, oh, like I do that. Cool. You know what I mean? And you can connect
Mhm.
with people. And to his point about cost, it might be a value exchange. Somebody
Yep.
might be willing to edit your book for you at no cost if you have a skill that they need. You know what I mean? Or
Oh
you
yeah.
might have a graphic designer in that community that you're a part of that is willing to do your cover in exchange for something that you do. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
That's a beautiful thing to have for sure.
absolutely. So, community, set goals and deadlines, and accountability. I wanted to make sure to go over those. And he tied it up perfectly with that bow at the end saying, you can do it too. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It is possible. You can get it done, you
Oh
know?
yeah. It's impossible to do all this stuff alone. Like we can do so much by ourselves, but if we can bring in the right who's, like they say, that's
Hmm.
been another big thing in the grounds crew. Like that book, Who Not How, has been a game changer too, because it's like we all know how to do so much, but who can we bring in to help us get to where we're going? And that's another thing
Yes.
too. Like I've been getting better with asking for that help and asking the questions, instead of just trying to do it all by on my own.